2024 in review RuneScape 3 edition. Am I late compared to some other people? Sure, but it's still 2024 when this video goes up, so fight me. So what was it like? Was it good? Was it bad? Or was it simply mediocre? I mean, if you would go off social media, which you never should by the way, it has been awful. Jagex with their greedy business practices and MTX crap. But that doesn't paint the picture of this year at all. I mean, you do have to talk about a certain survey that happened relating to MTX, but what about all the actual updates this year? In this video, I'll go over all the ups and downs of 2024 and grade the year from 1 to 10. Which I'm also curious about your grade in the comment section down below and to why. I mean, you can put a random 6 down there without explanation, but it doesn't really tell me much. So feel free to write a little bit more. I can kind of already see that some of you will probably just go down there, put a random number and confuse me with that. So thank you, but hey, interactions are interactions. Enough yapping, my name's Chevalric, and let's talk about it. I want to go through the year in a chronological manner and focus on the things that stood out to me. So if I skip over some things, it's most likely intentional. Now, the first worthwhile update of the year was Osseous, released at the end of May on the 28th to be exact. Did I skip over some updates from January to pretty much June that I didn't like? I mean, Requiem for a Dragon and Housing of Parliament were nothing to write home about. Both quests that were decent, but nothing special. But besides those two quests, we didn't get any updates besides patch notes and seasonal events. Some of you might have forgotten the awful start of the year, as quite honestly, the second part of 2024 has been pretty decent for RuneScape 3. But the first half was so bad that we as a community had to keep complaining to Jagex to release a freaking roadmap, as all we were getting were limited time events, aka seasonal events, and patch notes. And if we didn't beg for it, the roadmap that was, we would have literally not have gotten a proper permanent update till after the beach event that released in late June, or that would have released in late June, because they just released the one from last year instead, as they were planning to revamp that event as well, alongside what they did with the Easter, Halloween and Christmas events. They ended up cancelling it to give us permanent content, but that just shows how bad it was at the start of the year for RuneScape 3. Yes, it was that type of year to start off with. So what did we end up getting after complaining? Well, we got game jam projects, which in all honesty were not too bad. And I would argue the second one of those was actually really good. First, Osseous. It was good for what it was. A mini quest and a mid-level boss fight teaching some mechanics, perfect for the audience it was intended for, and introducing a pretty decent ring for necromancy. You know what's also perfect? You leaving a like on this video and subscribing, trying to get to 10k subscribers by the end of 2025. The second update I was talking about is of course the quote-unquote micro-dig side of Demonheim, introducing some more mid-level and high-level content for archaeology. It didn't introduce anything game-changing, but it did come with a new way to get dungeoneering tokens, as completing one of the collections gave 2 large dungeoneering token boxes, a new archaeology offhand in the Hypno wand, and the dead on arrival Spirit Weaver relic that gave us 50% extra experience to summoning, but instead you craft pouches one at a time. Yeah, no clue who thought that would be a good relic, but overall, that update was pretty solid and actually took a while to complete. Arguably, the biggest release of the year had to be the Sanctum of Rebirth boss encounter, introducing 3 new bosses that you can fight back to back, an elite dungeon without the dungeon, and overall a great piece of content, even if I can't do it due to lack of accessibility features. I'm talking about the one-hit mechanic that is in text above Nakatra. Just give us a sound effect, it's not that hard, you've done it with pretty much all the recent bosses, why stop now? To be fair, the shadows in the Sand Realm are also an issue for me, as they are literally an eye test. Like seriously, they use shadowy shapes to test ice with certain issues, and I so happen to struggle with those, so it's an undoable encounter for me. However, that doesn't take away on objectively how good this encounter was, introducing some more movement mechanic based gameplay, which I think was really missing in the game, on top of the usual RuneScape 3 mechanics, and blending that all together worked really well and it felt like a really good encounter. And it actually had a very difficult hard mode as well, where everything pretty much sped up. Plus, me and Protox just simply had a lot of fun playing the update together when it did release. The one issue with it, however, was the fact that the tier 95 magic jewel wield items were a bit too easy to get. So easy that they went to roughly 100 mil a pop. Now, I'm not for gatekeeping endgame content. Necromancy did some bad things to the game, but one of the benefits is that PvM is more accessible than ever. But tier 90 magic jewel wields are harder to get than tier 95s? Yeah, that's not supposed to be a thing, is it now? They should have made them a little bit more rare from normal mode, in my opinion, and that would have probably solved a lot of the issues. Another issue that unfortunately troubled this piece of content, which kind of took away from, I don't know, the positivity around it in a way, because like I said, the content itself was really good, but just the rewards were a bit meh, or like weirdly put together. I don't think the rewards necessarily are bad, but it's just the way they went about it. And what I'm talking about, besides obviously the two common rates of the tier 95s, are the lazy tier 100 weapon designs of pretty much all of the weapons that are now tier 95 and can be upgraded to tier 100 using a Genesis shard per tier 95 weapon. So, for example, if you upgrade the Fractured Staff of Armadale, it will now become a tier 100, not all your weapons turn into tier 100s. I hope that makes sense, but I just wanted to clarify that. I like that it's a permanent unlock, so even if you would sell that Fractured Staff of Armadale that you upgrade to tier 100, if you buy it back, it will remain a tier 100. I like that, that is good account progression. But then they also look the same as the tier 95s. Like, I literally just put nearly a 2 billion GP upgrade onto my tier 95s, and it looks the exact same. I understand that designing all these weapons again is kind of a difficult one, but even if it was just a copy-paste effect, that would have been cool. I just want to show off that I have a tier 100. And that kind of goes with something as well, with the whole, I understand it's a lot to design, then don't. But if you watch the live streams of the J-mods talking about their designs, they constantly complain about how difficult it is to come up with new, exciting and powerful boss releases that give actual good rewards in the sense of weapons or armor upgrades. And then you make everything go to tier 100 in one go. Spread it out. Even that would be kind of lazy design, but at least you can maybe give everything like a slight extra special effect. Maybe the special attack of each weapon being buffed a little, or a better design, or something. Now it's just, hey, the number of damage is just higher and the number of accuracy is higher, and that is all that the tier 100 does. I don't know, I feel like it's just a missed opportunity overall, and it could have been a great reward space for future bosses. But hey, oh, that's just a piece of mind I just wanted to give, as I wasn't able to give that in the original video I made on that. Anyway, next up are the 110 skilling reworks. I'm going to group them together as they have the same pluses and minuses to me. Mining and smithing, woodcutting and fletching. Overall, I think they're both great updates. The tier 100 tools are fun to make, and the introduction of skill expansions are a great addition to the game in my opinion, with the increasing experience rates and more room for powerful rewards. That is if they don't nerf the new methods into the ground, where it becomes equivalent to a tier 50 training method, with the primal bolts being nerfed from being way too overpowered to now being equivalent to that tier 50 training method. Go watch the Protox video if you don't know what I'm talking about. It is actually insane. And mining the new rocks is actually worse than mining the Elder Rune rocks. So what's the point of them? Making money? No, because they are not that profitable. Obviously they are profitable, but they're not insane amount of money, and even the lower tier rocks are more profitable than the higher tier ones. So I kind of failed to see the purpose of the nerfed rates or even the underwhelming rates. But besides that, this update has actually been pretty good. I like the expansion of it, I like that there's more to do, and like I said, I love the process of making the new weapons. It takes a couple of hours, you need to do some niche content, I like that kind of stuff. We also finally saw our second skilling boss this year. I can be quick about this one. I simply don't like it. It sounds like I'm trashing this year, but trust me, there are some really good things to come. I just feel like it's a bit of everything, but nothing in particular. And that probably describes this year perfectly. It was supposed to feel more like the old school RuneScape skilling bosses, at least that's what they said before release. But instead, it's in a weird position between Croesus, which I consider the definition of a skilling team-based boss, which in my opinion is a good thing, and the chill old school RuneScape skilling boss minigame designs. The gate is too reliant on you doing everything well, where it becomes a bit too engaged to not waste your time. What I mean by that is that if you mess up, it adds another cycle to the boss and quite a lot of time on top of that. The XP was supposed to be good as well, which it is for divination, but the rest of the skills are kind of underwhelming. So are the rewards. The book is good experience, roughly 90k plus for any skill an hour, but besides the divination offhand, the rest is kind of meh. They have their niche uses, but overall, they are not that relevant. Before we get into my final verdict and 2 more mentions, yes, Group Iron Man, and something even more important to me, we need to talk about a certain survey. In 2024, Jagex flat out asked us what we think of microtransactions in RuneScape, if we like Treasure Hunter, and gave us the option in the survey to give our actual opinions on the matter. Yet at the same time, push more MTX on us than possibly ever, especially around Christmas, with not 1, not 2, but 3 Treasure Hunter exclusive items, and quite honestly, that makes a lot of sense. It making sense, by the way, doesn't mean that I don't like it, but will we see the removal of Treasure Hunter in RuneScape 3? Possibly. But like I said in my original video on the matter, I don't think it comes from a genuine place and care for the community, but more so that more and more European countries are cracking down on loot boxes in video games, where the game's availability in certain countries will become limited, aka banned, and Europe so happens to be one of RuneScape's biggest markets. Obviously, if that is the case, as it's speculation at this point, it's still smart for RuneScape to approach the matter in this manner, as it's simply good marketing. But until then, expect the most outrageous MTX you will ever see. Group Iron Man is MTX free, however, and was a fun experience with the yappers. If you've been following me for a while, you know my views on Iron Man in RuneScape 3, and even on Group Iron Man as a concept. I've always felt that GIM wasn't really needed in RuneScape 3, and I was both right and wrong on that fact, as it did really well with the numbers or viewer base of RuneScape 3, both on YouTube and on Twitch. The numbers were way up, and that is really good to see, and there were actually a lot of new accounts made during the Group Iron Man release, even from people that haven't played in a while. Like, it exceeded Jagex's numerical expectations, so I guess that is a really good thing. But still experiencing the same issues with the mode that I expected to does kinda suck. Because RuneScape 3, in my opinion, doesn't really lend itself too well to Group Iron Man mode, and in a way that is actually a good thing. Besides most skills being hard requirements for either important quests or progression, having specific roles like a crafter, smither, etc. is quite irrelevant. And that sucks for the concept of an Iron Man, or Group Iron Man in this case, but it does show that everything really has a use in the game, so I suppose it's both a positive and a negative. And that is the same thing with the ability to boss with others. Most RuneScape 3 encounters are best done solo, and on regular Iron Man mode, you can already boss with others. And those 2 aspects just happen to be, at least in my opinion, the 2 most important parts of Group Iron Man, because at that point, why would you be playing a Group Iron Man over a regular Iron Man? But hey-oh, that's just me being a little bit nitpicky, and that's why I'm making a review video. Now, I still had a lot of fun with the game mode, and in no way is it a bad addition to the game. I would say it's a net positive overall. The fact that I just happen to have some issues with the game mode isn't the reason that I would think it's a bad update. I really like it. It brought forth a lot of great content. I had so much fun playing with the yappers. Go check out the series if you haven't done so already. But if you would have asked me, leaks or Group Iron Man mode, leaks any day. And finally, for possibly my update of the year, the Clue Scroll Puzzle Box slider change. I'm half kidding, of course, but that was the best patch note of 2024. Puzzle boxes are now 40 steps on average instead of 140, and that makes me as a cluer a very happy man. But what was really my update of the year? Honestly, it's probably the Demonheim dig site for me. I felt like it gave us a lot of content for such a small update and really packed in everything you expect from an update like it. There was some mystery about the low floors of Demonheim, and overall there was some decent gameplay gaps being filled by the new excavation sites. with some solid rewards on top of that. The 110s would have been up there for me if they didn't feel so random regarding experience rates and only having stuff at level 100 for mining and woodcutting and nothing really at 110. So my average grade for RuneScape 3 in 2024 is a 6 out of 10. It was alright. A passing grade, but nothing special. We had some good updates towards the end of the year, but the lack of updates for the first 6 months pretty much, well 5-6 months, is simply unacceptable. I hope 2025, with the roadmap that is already revealed, will blow 2024 out of the water, as there is a lot of talent in the team, but that talent does need to be utilized properly with the updates they are allowed to work on. On screen right now, you can watch me play every single update of 2024. Before you do, leave a like, subscribe, and my name's Chevalric. Happy New Year, I'll see you guys in my next video.